Welcome to Real Love, Real Stories TV and podcast. This is Kanu and I'm the host. Thank you so much for tuning in. And today I'm going to be talking about, is true love a feeling or is it a choice? And so I wanted to talk about this post that I put on Facebook, and I just asked that question. And I had 66 responses from people that looked at that post and responded. So I wanted to address a few of them. It looks like it was a little bit split up between, some people said choice, but mostly people said feeling, and a lot of people said both. So I'll just go ahead and read a few comments that I thought I would share. So this person says, well, I think as a person, you first have to choose to open your heart to love someone truly. Once you do that, you can feel it if you find your true love. I don't think, in my opinion, you can do one, like choose true love without feeling it, or vice versa. I think the two are married in some type of way. And someone says a feeling that you can choose to act upon. And somebody says a feeling, when it is a choice, it means you're just tolerating each other. And someone says, after 30 years, I would say a choice to allow myself to surrender to the feeling. And again, someone says, love is a feeling, but making someone your true love is a choice. Another response, a choice you make with your mind that develops and grows into deeper feelings. And another, it's a choice. Feelings come and go and can sometimes be fickle. They are not stable enough to maintain anything as deep as love. And just reading one of the last ones here. So it's a choice. Feelings expire and run out, but one will choose to remain a loving person, and then loving a person unconditionally. I think it starts as a feeling when you choose to be with that person or vice versa. You could choose to be with someone and then learn to love them. So many comments here that people posted. And the last one here, I think it starts with a feeling and is sustained by choice. So many comments with, of course, the ones I didn't read where somebody just commented with the word choice or feeling. So many people responded, which I'm so grateful for. And so today I just thought I would invite someone to be in the guest chair, and we'll talk about, from their perspective, is true love a choice, or is it a feeling? So here's the episode. Here's the story. Enjoy. Thank you for taking time to chat with me. I'm so excited to have you on Real Love, Real Stories. So,
super excited.
Yeah. So why don't we start by having you introduce yourself?
Well, I am Aditi Wardhan Singh. I am an author. I have written the book Strong Roots Have No Fear. I am also the founder of a global platform called Raising World Children, where we welcome different perspectives from around the world to write about parenting and explore the challenges that we have in balancing heritage and our culture and today's many, many constantly evolving scenarios.
Awesome. Well, thanks for that introduction. So this is Real Love, Real Stories. So we want to talk about your love journey. But in particular today, we're focusing on, there was a question that I posted on Facebook where I said, is true love a feeling, or is it a choice? Now, knowing that you're from India and your marriage was, an arranged marriage.
Yes.
So I wanted to pose that question to you and just ask you, what do you think about that? Is true love a feeling, or is it a choice?
I believe it is certainly a combination of the two. There is no either or. But yes, if once you have the feeling, if you want your marriage or relationship to sustain, you have to make a choice daily, every moment, especially on the tough ones, to choose not to walk away, to stay with each other. But because a feeling is transitioning constantly, doesn't it? It is like today you're angry, tomorrow you're sad, today you're in love, tomorrow you're, whatever, excited or upset.
Yeah.
But you have to choose to be all over it and keep choosing to be with each other.
Oh, I love that so much. So, which actually, you're the perfect person to talk about this, because your marriage, was an arranged marriage. So, talk to me about when you were first getting into the relationship with your husband.
Yes.
So, what was it? Did you have feelings? I mean, what was it? Walk us through that.
Well, in the beginning, arranged marriage is kind of practical. I was actually not even in the state of getting married. I wasn't very into it. Like, my parents wanted me to get married, so I was talking to a few boys. But then she was like, no, we need to get serious. And she picked out a few people. She went to India, she met them. And then she said, oh, I love this family. They are wonderful. Start talking to this boy. I started talking to him. And our first exchange was very unique. I found him to be very different from, I was in college in India. So I found him to be very different from all the boys that I had met, because I was in an all-girls school. So my experience was limited to my college experience of all the different guys I had met. So when I spoke to him, I found him so different. And then we started talking. And 6 months in, our parents said that, what are you guys going to do? Do you want to take this further? And we were like, yes, it does make sense. He likes me, I like him. And just like in America, you have a like and love is different. I guess in arranged marriage also, there's a like and that eventually turns into love. So we were in like. So we said yes. And we met a day before I got engaged. And I think that time we got closer because it was the first time we were meeting in person. I think.
So 6 months you were communicating via what platform?
Phone calls. First it was emails, then phone calls, then webcam. Okay. So it was like literally like, we took small steps, baby steps. Yeah. So I think that also helped us build our rapport well, because it was, slow and steady. And so when we met for the first time, I think we felt, yes, the person who was on the communication is the same who we have met. So that was like, it became nicer. Yeah. And then after we got engaged, he came again to meet me in Kuwait. Our engagement was also in Kuwait. So when he came that time, I saw him in a very different light, because he was much more comfortable. He's a very introvert kind of person. So the second time he was very jubilant and he was talking a lot. And I got to see a different side of him. Maybe the first time his parents were there as well. So it was a little bit formal. Second time it was just him, and both of us spent a lot more time together. And that was the time when he was leaving. I was like, you know what, this guy is someone special, and I think I do love him, and and I didn't want him to go. So it was a difficult 6 months after that.
Oh, because you were apart. So I think it's important to give that listeners a little bit of perspective, I guess. So you are from India, but you were living in Kuwait at that time.
Yes.
So where were your parents, in India or Kuwait as well?
No, I was born and raised in Kuwait. So I am.
Where? Okay.
I am, you would say, a third culture kid who is Indian by birth, but was raised in Kuwait. So so that makes a lot of difference in the way I see things, which is why it was very interesting when I started speaking to him, because he has a very different way of looking at things, which is quite similar to mine. So our values kind of matched up, and he would see things in me that only my best friend in college had ever seen. Yes. So he was the only second person who would be like, hey, you know what, you write well. Hey, you know what, I love this about you. And I would be like, okay, I don't see that in myself. And that's nice to be able to be appreciated in a view of yourself that you have never seen before.
Right. I like that. So was he born and raised in India or?
Yes, India. He was born and raised in India.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. So that's awesome. So 6 months of you guys talking on the phone, video chatting and all that. And then he comes over and he's more open and more fun to be around. I think that's how you described it.
Yes.
So at this point, what are you feeling? Are you is it still, still going back to the subject, is true love a feeling or choice? I mean, what are you feeling at this point?
At this point, I think it was just as you would be more than friends, less than I would say lovers, because we were not there, kind of. I mean, I think in mind we were, but if you say feeling wise, we were still, in that phase where we like each other a lot now, but he was. I don't know. For me, it was that moment when I still remember the moment he was going up we were going up an escalator, and then I ended up being up and he was going down because he had to help my mom with something, and I was like, that's so sweet, and I was like, oh my God, he's going to leave in a couple of days, and I don't want that to happen. So I
Oh,
believe the first year of us. Almost, I think you would say 8 months rather, was more of me like, oh, you know what, this guy is really nice, and it's a good choice to. He's very good on paper, and he seems dependable. He checks all my boxes that I ever imagined. That I want someone who's intelligent, who's funny, who has. I mean, obviously, parents want a good job and dependable family, all those things.
yeah.
And of course, he's everything. He helps my parents. He's very sweet. He respects me, which was huge. He oh my God, I'm blushing, but
I love it. I love it.
I can still go on, like, he is still all of those things, which is wonderful.
And how many years has it been?
It's been 12 years, counting that 1 year, so yeah.
And you're still blushing. This is so beautiful. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that's awesome. So then, is it safe to say that for you,
Mm-hmm.
your true love started off as being a choice to say,
Yes.
I am choosing this person to see what it's like to be with this person.
Yes.
And I think as you're describing it, which is almost 6 months later, that's when you develop those feelings of like, oh my God, I cannot believe he's going to be leaving, and we're going to be apart. And am I describing it well?
Yes, perfect. Actually, it is. And going forward, when we got married, we saw a lot of things in each other, because when you start living with someone, the reality morphs a lot. And it would be like, oh my God, this is difficult. And some days, and then when you're in a situation, and I came to US where I did not know anyone.
Uh-huh.
He was the only person I knew, and he had 3 friends. And then I saw more things about him that again I started respecting more, like him wanting to build my passion, and helping out around the house, which I hadn't seen a lot of guys do. So that was wonderful. And then of course I would still say 12 years in, when I have seen every side of him, and I'm not saying he's perfect, but there are days when I could be like, for listeners, I'm like strangling someone here. But again, when those few minutes pass by and we come back to being ourselves, and he is he and I am me, and I'm glad we choose to not let things go out of hand, or take things to heart, or be disrespectful no matter what. So right. I think yes, we choose to be together, and we choose to love each other more and more every day.
Yeah. So how do feelings still play into that? I know you were blushing, so obviously there's some strong feelings there, but yes. You choose to be with him every day. He chooses to be with you every day. He supports you, you support him, and you're raising a family together, and there's a lot of choices in there.
Right.
Because you said it's both initially. So at this point, 12 years later, where do feelings come into play into your relationship?
Personally, I feel the most important feeling in any relationship is that of respect, especially with a spouse. So when the respect is there, I believe the awe, admiration, and love just fall into place like dominoes. And when things happen, like I used to love writing, but I'm a computer engineer by education. Mm-hmm. And of course, when you come to US, you cannot do work till you get your visa and stuff. So he would be like, no, hey, you know what, start blogging. And then eventually now recently, all the success I've had with my book or with my platform is all, I give all the credit to him, because he has pushed me. He has wanted me to be successful in something I have dreamt of doing since I was 9 years old. And I doubt that there are many people who want their partners to do be everything that they have ever imagined to be.
Right, right.
And that respect, my respect for him balloons every few days, with the things he does.
Yeah.
And then my awe, admiration, and love, of course, expand as well when those moments come. So yeah, that's where all the feelings coming into place.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love that you continue to feed each other in terms of like growth and,
Right.
Support each other. And that actually keeps your relationship going. There's a
Yes.
lot of respect there. Yeah. And support is huge, right? When you're in a relationship with somebody who sees the potential in you.
Yes.
And I like how you say that he said, start your blog, and that led on to you now being an author. And that's all very, very exciting. So I'm so glad that your relationship is one that's based on both, which is, it started off being choice and the feelings came later. And yeah, so from you to the listener, what advice would you give to the listener who perhaps, thinks, a relationship should be one either of feelings or choice? Any words of wisdom there for the listener?
I would say let your feelings be the guide, but don't let them control you. And I believe this is very important, because often what happens is we have a bad moment with someone, especially our spouse, and the spouse, a partner, is someone who you would be free to be however you want to. And that translates very harshly on the bad moments. And you tend to feel that, oh, I can say everything I want to. That line of respect kind of gets murky, and you tend to overstep your bounds and end up hurting each other very badly. In those moments, remember all the good that's behind you, all the good feelings that were there, and choose to not walk away, choose to stay, choose to remember that, hey, you know what? I'm here, you're here, we'll work this out, we'll make things work, and there's always a solution to everything. So even on the bad moments, don't let blame or anger or suspicion or anything, don't let those feelings overcome your love for each other. Let respect help you make the choice that, you're going to be there and not walk away.
Oh, I love it. Nicely said.
Thank you.
There you go, listeners. From one woman in a successful marriage, 12 years and going strong. I mean, she said it beautifully. So hopefully that will help you in your relationship as well. So I want to thank you for taking time to chat with me about whether true love is a feeling or a choice. So thank you so much. As you remember from Facebook, there were so many comments, people saying, it's one or the other. Yes. If you say it was both, but I'm happy to hear for you that it's both. So thank you so much for being a part of Real Love, Real Stories.
Thank you so much for having me. This is wonderful.
Awesome. So you've made it to the end of the episode. Thank you so much. I'm genuinely so grateful. So now please go to iTunes, where you can leave a review of this episode, and as well share it on your social media platforms. And remember that one person in your life that you feel like needs to hear this message, please send it to them so they can hear it. And again, thank you so much. And I look forward to bringing you another episode next time.